Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video, where we're going to be doing a guide for Florence for EU4 1.31 Leviathan. Before we begin, consider leaving a like and subscribing, since only 12% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today. So Florence is a nation in the northern half of Italy, surrounded by other Italian nations, most of which are weaker, with the strongest ones being the Pope and Venice. Florence is one of the best nations, if not the best nation in EU4 for playing tall, and is definitely a first choice for many players when looking to play in that style. By playing as Florence, you will be overflowing with monarch points constantly, being way ahead in tech, and dominating trade in the Genoa and Venice trade nodes, and maybe even Valencia and Ragusa, while having extremely high dev in every province with tons of buildings. So let's get started. First, we're gonna go into our estates and some of the diet. You can pick whichever agenda is best for you. We're gonna give the clergy religious state and clerical advisory council. We're gonna give the nobility primacy of the nobility, increased levies, and aristocratic councilors. And we're gonna give the burghers land of commerce, patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, and indebted to the burghers. Then we're gonna seize land. Next, we're gonna go into our court tab and focus on Diplo, and we're gonna hire a level 1 Diplo advisor, preferably a Diplo rep or an improved relations guy. I'm gonna get this Diplo rep guy. Then we're also gonna hire advisors. I'm gonna take this reinforced speed guy. And apparently I only have level 2 admin advisors, so I'm just gonna take this yearly inflation reduction guy. Next, we're gonna pay off our loans and unlock the mission Personal Diplomacy, which gives us plus 25% improved relations and 1 diplomatic relation for 15 years. Now we need to get 2 allies to unlock the next mission. You will usually be able to ally 2 nations in Italy. I'm gonna ally the Pope because I'm not gonna fight him first, and I'm gonna let a day go by and ally Mantua as well. Now we can unlock the second mission, the Italian League, which gives us claims on Tuscany and Emilia-Romagna. And now we have claims on these provinces right here. Now I allied these 2 nations just to unlock the mission, but I don't really want them as my allies. So I am gonna improve relations with Milan, since we do wanna ally Milan or Savoy. One of those 2 guys is really the only ally you will need. And we will also attempt to ally France or Austria. It really depends how your game goes. I'm also gonna build 2 infantry regiments and give my ruler military command. And then we're gonna add some rivals. I recommend adding Bologna, Siena, and Lucca. Now we're gonna wait for December 12th. And now it's December 12th, and we're gonna be declaring our first war, and it's gonna be against Bologna. They're not even in the HRE, and they usually won't have an ally by this point, and if they do, it's gonna be someone very small, like maybe Trent or Constance or someone like that. So we are immediately gonna be declaring on them, of course, with the conquest. In the meantime, try to Royal Marry Milan or Savoy and improve relations with France or Austria, depending on who you can ally sooner. I'm gonna improve with Austria in my case. And I'm also gonna dissolve my alliance with Mantua. And of course, once we've full sieged Bologna, we're gonna full annex them and take all their money. Now, while that war was going on, I royal married Milan and Austria, and I did improve relations with them, and now I can ally them. And that's my diplomatic situation sorted. Basically, I'm allied to the Pope, Milan, and Austria, and you should be allied to the Pope, Milan, or Savoy, and Austria or France. That's how your diplomatic situation should look like. Now we're gonna be coring this province and getting our country back into shape. We're also gonna send this 1 light ship to protect trade in Genoa. We can also move the merchant that's transferring from Ragusa to Genoa to collect in Venice. During this time, you should also start currying favors with Milan and Austria. Now my core on Bologna is done, and the Pope did break his alliance with me, but in the meantime I did manage to ally France as well. And you will probably be able to do this too, ally both Austria and France, and you can try and keep both alliances until one of them breaks it with you. Basically, it's better to be allied to Austria if you're still in the HRE, and once the Italian nations leave the HRE, which will happen in about 15 years maybe, then it's better to be allied to France. But I'm gonna keep both of these alliances basically until one of them breaks it with me. But I am gonna want to be allied to France more. And now that the core on Bologna is done, it's time to look for the next nation to attack. And it will be Ferrara, Lucca, or Siena. In my case, Siena is allied to Provence and Genoa, and Lucca is allied to Ferrara and the Pope. And Lucca or Siena will sometimes join a trade league led by Genoa or Venice, which could be annoying. And the French just called me into their war with England, so I'm gonna join them in this war, and then I'm gonna be attacking one of these nations. So now that France called me in this war, I actually have a good opportunity to declare on Siena. This is because they're allied to Provence and Genoa, which would make it annoying. But since I'm already in a war with Provence on my side, I'm not gonna be fighting them. So I am gonna declare on Siena, who is only allied to Genoa. Now either way, you will be declaring on Ferrara, Lucca, or Siena. If you're declaring on Lucca or Siena, you will be full annexing them. If you're declaring on Ferrara, you will be vassalizing them. Of course, I will demonstrate that later, but now I am gonna declare on Siena, of course with the conquest CB. Now it's time to deal with Genoa, and then Siena. And I did hire the Free Company just to get this war done faster. You could also do it for your war against one of these 3 nations. During your second war, you should have also reached 10 favors with Milan, so you could call them in if you feel like you're struggling. Depends on who you're fighting, of course. In my case, I'm not gonna call them in, I'm gonna save these favors for later. And I just sieged down Genoa. Now when you're fighting them, if they're allied to someone else, of course, and not conquering them, you should take all their money, demand war reps, and make them end an alliance or 2. In my case, I'm gonna make them end their alliance with Austria and with Siena too. Like I said, this is what you should also be doing, since we aren't gonna be fighting Genoa anytime soon. We need to deal with other nations first. And now that I've fully occupied Siena, of course, I am gonna be full annexing them and taking all their money. And that's the second war done. Like I said, first war against Bologna, full annex, and your second war is going to be against Siena, Lucca, or Ferrara. If it's against Siena or Lucca, full annex them. If it's against Ferrara, vassalize them. And at this point, the aggressive expansion from playing in Italy and in the HRE at the same time will start showing up, and nations will be angry. Basically, if I were to fight Lucca right now and full annex them, I would have a big coalition for me. So now, in the next, I would say about 5 to 7 years, it's time to chill, since the Renaissance will spawn soon anyway, and it's time to build some buildings. This is what tech looks like, and it will be looking like this in your case too for most of the game, since you will have crazy monarch point generation as Florence. This also means I can build some buildings like churches and marketplaces. In my case, I am gonna build marketplaces in Pisa and Florence, since they have centers of trade. And like I said, now it's time to chill for about 5 years. During this time, you could also build some more light ships to help protect trade in Genoa. In my case, I'm gonna build 4 more. Even though I'm over force limit, this doesn't really cost anything. And there we go, the Renaissance just spawned, and you could save scum it, so you can have it spawn in your province, to be honest. I'm just too lazy to do it. But there is a very high likelihood it could spawn in one of your provinces, Florence specifically. You won't need to be deving it up, as you will get it almost immediately. For your second government reform, you should take republicanism for that plus 0.20 yearly republican tradition. When you've also racked up some cash, and if you're not allied to the Pope, like I am, in my case I did ally them but they broke their alliance with me, you can buy indulgence for your sins to prevent yourself from being excommunicated. At this point, you could also find another ally. These are my options, and I think I'm gonna go with Switzerland. They will help me later when I break my alliance with Milan. Somewhere around 1455, you should have embraced the Renaissance. In my case, I just did. That will also enable you to unlock the mission Florentine Renaissance, which gives us prestige and advisor cost discounts. And you should also be able to unlock reaffirm civic values if your first ruler is still alive. In my case, he is. This gives us 1 stab. And you should also be at level 5 in each tech by now. I'm telling you guys, Florence is crazy for stuff like this. And for our first idea group, we are gonna pick innovative ideas. By picking this idea group, we will maximize monarch point gain even more. We also gain plus 50% innovativeness. We get another minus 10% tech cost discount. We already have minus 5 tech and idea cost in our national ideas, and the minus 25% advisor cost finisher is crazy. So innovative ideas for the first idea group. Now it's time to chill for about 1 or 2 more years and get ready to declare on one of these 2 nations. Now when your first ruler dies, of course he is a 655 guy, you should pick the bureaucrat candidate since you are working on an admin idea group. But in my case, his relative is really good. We got a 363, so I will pick his relative. But if the relative is not good, pick the bureaucrat. Now that it's around 1455, it's time to declare our third war. And of course, it's gonna be against the nations that you have left out of Siena, Lucca, and Ferrara. In my case, Ferrara is allied to Naples, Savoy, and Landshut, and Lucca is only allied to the Pope. So I am gonna declare on Lucca. And I will call in Milan, so they help me out a bit. And now I have full siege down the Pope, and I'm gonna be taking all his money, demanding war reps, and I'm gonna make him end some alliances. And now that I've full siege down Lucca, I am going to be full annexing them. Like I said previously, full annex Siena and Lucca and vassalize Ferrara. And just like that, it's been 10 years and we have the full state of Tuscany and the province of Bologna as well. This is what aggressive expansion is looking like, so not too bad. We could take one or maybe two provinces outside of the HRE without getting a coalition. But since our next war needs to be against Ferrara, we're gonna chill. Build some buildings, build some ships, and boost our economy even further. Now as Florence, you're gonna be in situations like this very often, where you're about to hit your points cap. So in my case, I'm about to hit the Diplo points cap, and we're gonna have to do some deving. So you're just gonna turn on your Encourage Development State Edict, and the best provinces, at least in this point, to dev up are the provinces which produce high value trade goods. Of course, Siena does start off with glass, but I did get the Diamond District event, which turned them to gems. So you're gonna want to dev production in Siena, in Lucca as well, since it does produce cloth. In Bologna, it does have cloth too, and you're gonna want to be deving mill in Arezzo, since it does produce livestock, and tax maybe in Florence and Pisa. Now the Shadow Kingdom Imperial incident just fired, and basically during this event, Italian nations decide whether they want to stay in the HRE or leave. Now of course you will want to leave unless you are allied to the Emperor. So in my case I am allied to Austria, so I could stay, but either way I am going to leave. So I'm just gonna pick it's time to abandon Italy. When this event fires after 1 year, all of the Italian nations will leave the HRE and we will have much less aggressive expansion going forward. By the way, I'm in a war with Saluzzo and the 3 leagues. Switzerland called me in. I didn't declare anything, just so you guys don't get confused. And there we go, this is the Shadow Kingdom, and you can pick to leave or stay. Like I said, stay only if you're allied to Austria. I am, but I'm still gonna leave. And there we go, we're not in the HRE anymore. Now since it is around the 1460s, it's time to declare our 4th war, which will be against whoever is left out of Ferrara, Lucca, or Siena. In my case, it's Ferrara. They do have a lot of allies, like Naples, Savoy, Landshut, and the 3 leagues, but I can also call in all my allies, even Austria, since we're not in the HRE anymore. And I am gonna do that, even though it's a bit overkill, just to finish this war faster and knock out Savoy and Naples quickly. For your 3rd government reform, you should take frequent elections. We do want to bring down the length of elections since we want to maximize our monarch point gains. So frequent elections. And now that I've full occupied Ferrara, like I said, we are going to be vassalizing them because it is a lot less aggressive expansion and they do have 2 provinces. And I'm also going to take all their money. Of course, they will be a bit disloyal in the beginning, that's expected. And after the first 20 years, you should have all of Tuscany as well as Bologna and Ferrara as a subject. Once again, aggressive expansion is getting high, so it's time to chill, and it's also time to build spy networks on Mantua and Genoa. For your first stage ability, you should take Justified Wars, since aggressive expansion is our primary concern. By this point, you should already be running level 2 advisors as well. We do have a very nice income. At this point, you may also complete these 2 missions. Reform the Monte, which gives us plus 0.1 yearly inflation reduction and minus 10% reduced inflation cost. This one's mediocre, but the next one, Medici Bank Ledgers, gives us minus 0.5 interest per annum and minus 20% state maintenance until the end of the game. Very nice permanent modifiers. Now that about 3 or 4 years have passed, it's time to declare our next war, and it's gonna be against Genoa or Mantua. Mantua may not exist in your case, then you can just declare on Genoa. But in my case, they do have a ton of allies, so I am gonna be declaring on Mantua. And I'm gonna call in Switzerland and Milan as well. I also forgot to mention that I declared using Ferrara's CB since we can't get a claim on them. If Ferrara don't have a CB on Mantua, you can just set Mantua as a province of vital interest, and then they should build a claim on it. And now that I've full siege Mantua, of course I am gonna be full annexing them and taking all their money. Still no coalitions, which is a great sign. And aggressive expansion is high really only with the Italian nations at this point, since we are out of the HRE, but still we do need to let it tick down. Now that you're finished with this war, maybe it was with Mantua, maybe it was with Genoa, or maybe even Venice, it's time to build up your nation even more. I did just reach admin tech 6, still way ahead of time in tech, of course, as Florence, this is the usual. And as you can see, I'm building 5 workshops right now in all the high value trade good provinces, such as Lucca, Bologna, Siena. I'm also building one in my vassals, capital Ferrara right here, and I'm also building one in Florence just because the dev is really high. And basically you can see everywhere that I'm building them in all these blue provinces. This is where I have marketplaces, once again in the blue provinces, and I have a few churches too, as well as barracks in Florence. So you should be building too. And of course, keep improving relations with outraged countries all the time. You should also be upgrading your centers of trade in Lucca and Pisa. And like I said, as Florence, we're just gonna keep deving. Once again, I'm almost at my points cap for Diplo and Mill, so just go in and dev the cheapest provinces. Now once you've full annexed Mantua and taken 1 or 2 provinces from Genoa, in my case I haven't because I still have a truce with them, it's time to turn our attention to Venice, and of course we do have a claim on this province right here from our mission. Now Venice might be annoying to fight because they have a huge fleet, it's hard to get on Venice, and they might have annoying allies and subjects like Naxos and the Knights, but usually they won't have a very powerful ally, so that's a good thing. So it's time to declare on Venice for the conquest of Ravenna right here, and I am gonna call in Milan. Try to avoid their navy during this war since you probably do have a weaker navy than them, and I'm just gonna focus on knocking out Naples and then sieging down as much of Venice as I can. For your second age ability, you should take the transfer subject, peace treaty at half cost, and claims burden claims 1. Now as Florence, you can pick whichever tier form, government reform you want basically. We have the minus 25% state maintenance one, the plus 250 governing capacity, and plus 10% global trade power. Honestly, all of these are good. And remember, you're just thinking about Florence and basically up until the age of absolutism, since after that we will be becoming a monarchy. Personally, I'm going to be selecting the administrative divisions one for now. Now I have about 53% war score against Venice, and I feel like this is as much as I can get since I can't actually siege down Venice. Now in this first war against Venice, you are going to take the province of Ravenna for yourself, as well as one of these 3 provinces right here, so Istria, Zara, or Spalato. You're also going to take war reps from them and as much money as you can. And that's our first war against Venice done. Now since we took one of these provinces right here, we are going to be releasing the nation of Dalmatia. And there we go, we have another subject, Dalmatia, and they have some excellent trade and navy focused national ideas. Really strong national ideas actually. Not only that, they also have cores on 5 more provinces over here, which we're of course gonna be taking over from Croatia or Hungary, Venice, and some other nations as well. This can also help us establish a border with some of the Balkan nations right here like Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, or Albania. After all, we do want to be expanding in the Ragusa trade node. Like I said, we're mainly focusing on the region of Italy, which of course contains the Genoa and Venice trade nodes, as well as the Valencia and Ragusa trade nodes too. Once 10 years have passed since you've vassalized Ferrara, of course, you should start annexing them. Now it's time to chill for about a year or 2 and get ready to declare on the next nation, which in your case might be Genoa just like me, or it might even be Savoy or Montferrat or Saluzzo. Of course, you do want your subjects diverting trade to you. Now while I'm waiting to core this province of Ravenna and annexing my subject Ferrara, I have noticed that the nation of Ragusa right here, they're not guaranteed by the Ottomans anymore. I guess they were in a war against them, so they stopped guaranteeing them. So this is a perfect opportunity to declare on them with a reconquest CB from my subject Dalmatia. And I'm also gonna co-belligerent Bosnia, since they're an OPM right here and they also have course on these 5 provinces over here. So that's gonna be my next war. Keep an eye out for opportunities like these, especially right here in the Ragusa trade node with nations such as Dalmatia, Ragusa, Herzegovina, Bosnia, Serbia, and Croatia, and Albania. And now that I've fully occupied both Bosnia and Ragusa, I am gonna make Bosnia my vassal, as we can see right here, and I'm gonna full annex Ragusa, but I'm gonna give it to my subject Dalmatia. And there we go, Dalmatia has one of their cores back, we still need to give them back 4 more, and we also have Bosnia, who have cores on these 5 provinces right here. And aggressive expansion isn't bad because these were small, low dev nations. Now it's time to prepare for the next war, which is once again, for me, going to be against one of these nations right here. And you will probably be in the same situation as me right now. If you're not doing this, you could fight Genoa or whoever owns these provinces in the Piedmont area. Now, like I said, I'm gonna be declaring on some of these nations that my subjects have a core on. In my case, I'm going to be declaring on Herzegovina, since Bosnia has cores on all their provinces. And I'm also going to co-belligerent Serbia and vassalize them, because in my case, they're an OPM right now, but as you know, they have claims on a ton of provinces. And later, with all 3 of these subjects, I can go to war with Hungary, because all 3 of them will have tons of cores on Hungary. You should be doing something like this too. Maybe you won't have 3 potential subjects like me, but you will for sure have at least 1, like Dalmatia. By the way, I'm not in a war with Savoy, I'm just helping out Milan because they called me in. For your second idea group, I recommend taking quantity ideas. These will help us build up a massive army, and they have some excellent policies with other idea groups that we're gonna take. Don't forget to ask for ducats and soldiers from your big allies from time to time. And now that I've full siege these two nations, I'm basically going to be making Serbia my subject, like I said, and I'm gonna be giving back all these cores to my other subject, Bosnia. Only 6 aggressive expansion. And now I have 3 subjects to reconquer cores from Hungary from. You should be in a similar situation. Maybe not with 3 subjects, but you will probably have 2. Like I said, you will for sure have Dalmatia due to the war with Venice, and you will have one of these guys, Bosnia, Serbia, Herzegovina, or Albania. Now it's time to shift focus back to Italy and finish off Genoa. You may have already done this. And like I said, now I will be declaring on Genoa. If you already fought them earlier, now you should be declaring on Savoy perhaps, or whoever owns these provinces right here and down here, basically in the 2 areas of Liguria and Piedmont. And now that I have enough war score with Genoa, I am going to be taking both of these provinces here, Albanega and Genoa. Now this late in the game, I mean it's not late, it's been about 40 years, but at this point I can't afford to take both provinces without getting way too much aggressive expansion. When you fight Genoa for the first time, you're probably only going to want to take Genoa, or maybe only Albanega, or maybe even Corsica. But in my case I am going to take these 2 provinces, as well as war reps and some money. A coalition will form from Genoa, Venice, and Saluzzo, but you do need 4 nations to make a coalition. So these guys can't make one, and by the time my truce with them is up, aggressive expansion will have died down. Now once you're done with Genoa, Mantua, and the first war against Venice, like I am, in my case, you may have done this earlier than I did, since I had a pretty long truce with Genoa, it is time to break our alliance with Milan. We don't need them anymore, since we do want to conquer these provinces once our truce with them is up. In my case, I'm still allied to France, Switzerland, and Austria, and I do have 3 subjects, Serbia, Bosnia, and Dalmatia. Now I'm getting ready to declare on Hungary and take back Dalmatia's cores from these 2 provinces, Bosnia's cores from these 2 provinces, and Serbia's cores from these 5 provinces. In your case, if Hungary are allied to Austria, or if Austria has them in a PU, you will be doing this, but later when you're much more powerful. In the meantime, if you're not attacking Hungary, you should focus on building up your nation, maybe taking some provinces over here, or even fighting Aragon. In my case, Aragon did get into a PU under Castile pretty early. And now I am going to be declaring on Hungary. They only have 1 ally, Munich, but even they won't join. And I'll declare a reconquest for whichever province that my subjects have, and you should be doing the same. Reconquest. Like I said, it's no big deal if you can't fight Hungary at this point. And now I have enough war score with Hungary to get what I want. So I'm gonna be giving back all the cores that Hungary has for my subjects Dalmatia, Bosnia, and Serbia. I'm also gonna take war reps from them and some ducats. It says that a coalition will form, but it's the same nations from before, and a coalition won't actually form. And just like that, we've grown our subjects by quite a bit. And by around the 1480s or 1490s, your game should look a little something like this. Basically, we own most of northern Italy, and we have 1 or 2 subjects, maybe even 3 like in my case, in the Balkans, and maybe you have 1 or 2 subjects in the Valencia trade node, such as Majorca, Valencia, or Catalonia. Basically, by this point, you should be on the Great Powers list. As you can see, I am number 8. We have built up the force limit with a very strong army. You should have light ships protecting trade in Genoa, and your development should be massive from all that deving. This is what the state of Tuscany looks like. As you can see, it's pretty devved up in Liguria as well, and we're getting there in Emilia-Romagna. And you should already be the dominant power in Italy. And like I said, not only Italy, we're also on the Great Powers list. You will have 1 to 3 subjects here, like in my case. You will of course have Dalmatia either way, and if luck was in your favor, you might also have Bosnia, Herzegovina, Serbia, or Albania as subjects too. If Aragon didn't get into a PU under Castile very early like me, you could have also fought them, taken some provinces here from them, released Sicily. Of course, you could do it in the future too. You can release Sardinia right here, like I said, Catalonia, Valencia, and Majorca. You may also have done that already, and you may already have 1 subject from Aragon's territories. But after this, you will continue your slow expansion in the region of Italy, finishing off North Italy before going for Naples, and finally the Pope. You will continue expanding your subjects here in the Balkans and in the Ragusa trade node, and eventually annexing them, of course, and you will continue to expand in other areas of the Venice and Genoa trade nodes, and later Valencia too. Once you reach Admin Tech 10, of course you will click the button to form Tuscany. They have a wonderful color and a wonderful flag. It's just a cosmetic change, but you should do it anyway, and of course later you will be forming Italy, most likely. unless you're going for the achievement, which Florence has, which I will explain shortly. And basically you will continue to expand into Venice, into Milan, Provence right here, Naples, the Pope, Genoa, Aragon, and the surrounding areas, while keeping your alliances with either Austria or France, or both of them like in my case, for as long as you can. And you will constantly be building up to force limit in both your army and navy department. We're playing in Italy after all, where having a strong navy really does matter, and you will want to be protecting trade in Genoa and in Venice, and having a big galley stack ready for fighting. Galleys are OP in 131, and we are playing in the Mediterranean. For your tier 5 government reform, you will of course take the presidential system. For your tier 6 government reform, it really depends if you need that diplomat to improve relations, or if you need that minus 15% stab cost, since we are a republic after all, and stab cost will be very high. For your tier 7 reform, you can pick whichever one you want. They both give you one policy in admin or diplo depending on which way you're playing. For tier 8, I recommend going for citizenry, which gives you plus 10% morale of armies. For tier 9, I recommend taking appointed by committee, which gives us even further discount on advisors. And then for tier 10, you're gonna wait until the age of absolutism. Basically, unless you form Italy, you're gonna be a republic, and you're gonna wanna become a monarchy all the way when the age of absolutism hits. Until then, it's excellent to play as a republic and have crazy monarch point generation. As you can see, I'm also still running level 2 advisors, but my economy is booming, so I'm gonna be getting level 3 advisors pretty soon. For your next idea groups, you should take economic ideas for your third idea group. That will help us play tall even more, and we'll have a further 20% dev discount from economic and another 10% discount from its policy with quantity ideas. We do already have 10% discount as Florence, and we're gonna be getting discounts like that all the time, so deving will be super cheap. After that, you will take quality ideas for your fourth idea group. For your fifth one, I recommend trade. For your sixth, I recommend offensive, and then the final two ones are up to you. But those idea groups will set you up for an excellent tall campaign as Florence and Tuscany, and later as Italy as well. And they will give you a very powerful army with extremely high development in all of your territory. And you will continue going down Florence's mission tree, which gives us some nice modifiers on this side and gives us claims on this side. Basically, it will guide you towards conquering Italy and developing your lands. Of course, by this point you should have upgraded all your centers of trade that you own, and you should have been building lots of buildings. As you can see, I have marketplaces in all the center of trade provinces, and I have production buildings in all the high value trade good provinces. I even have Genoa at a level 3 center of trade. And of course, you're gonna build manufactories in all those nice provinces that you already have workshops in later when you unlock it. Florence has one unique achievement called the Prince of Egypt, where you need to form Egypt as Florence. Now this is a very easy achievement, and it can be done by around the 1550s, but the problem is to form Egypt you need admin tech 20. Basically, here's what you're gonna do. Of course, this requires playing as Florence for the entire campaign and not forming Italy. Basically, you're gonna need to conquer some areas from the Mamluks. These three areas right here will pretty much be enough, so the Delta, the Bahari, and the Vostani area, these three right here. Once you conquer them, you're gonna accept the Egyptian culture in your country, and you're gonna destate every state that you own in Italy. Basically, you'll only be left with this one state in Italy and these three states right here. At that point, you will have more Egyptian culture in your stated lands rather than Tuscan. And once you do, you will be able to change the Egyptian culture into your primary culture instead of Tuscan. And after that, the decision to form Egypt will show up, and you will be able to become Egypt. And that's how you get that achievement. Pretty easy, but like I said, you do need to play until you reach admin tech 20. And that's pretty much where this guide will stop, because after this point your game will diverge too much from mine. If you're not sure if your game is gonna go exactly like mine, or if you're not that confident in your abilities, this save game will be available to all tier 1 YouTube members in the Save Games Discord channel, and you can continue on from this date. Let me know in the comments below what's the next nation that you would like to see a guide on. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like and subscribe, since only 12% of you are subscribed, and you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.